There will always be something trying to pull a reaction out of you. Someone will disrespect you. Someone will misunderstand you. Someone will say something unnecessary. Someone will ignore you. Someone will criticize you. Someone will lie to you. Someone will disappoint you. Someone will provoke you just to see if they can get under your skin. And sometimes the situation isn't even that serious, but your reaction makes it serious. That's the part you need to understand. You cannot control everything that happens to you. You cannot control what people say. You cannot control how people behave. You cannot control what someone thinks about you. You cannot control whether someone respects you. You cannot control whether someone agrees with you, but you can control what happens next. You can control your reaction. And that ability can completely change your life. Because the person who controls their reaction has something most people don't have. Space between what happens and what they do about it. Most people don't have that space. Something happens. They react. Someone says something. They answer immediately. Someone insults them. They insult them back. Someone raises their voice. They raise theirs higher. Someone ignores them. They become desperate for attention. Someone criticizes them. They spend the entire day defending themselves. They don't pause. They don't think. They react. And later, they regret it. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have sent that message. I shouldn't have lost my temper. I shouldn't have let them get to me. But the moment is already passed. The words are already out. The message is already sent. The relationship is already damaged. And now you're trying to repair something that could have been prevented with 10 seconds of self-control. That's why you need to learn how to pause, not because you're weak, because you're strong enough to choose your response. Anyone can react. It takes discipline to respond. Anyone can yell. It takes strength to stay calm. Anyone can send the angry message. It takes maturity to put the phone down. Anyone can say something cruel when they're hurt. It takes character to refuse to become cruel. That's emotional control. And emotional control doesn't mean you don't have emotions. You do. You're going to feel anger. You're going to feel jealousy. You're going to feel frustration. You're going to feel hurt. You're going to feel disappointment. You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel embarrassed. You're going to feel rejected. That's human. The goal isn't to become emotionless. The goal is to stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions for you. Think about how many mistakes happen in a moment of anger. A relationship ends. A friendship breaks. A message gets sent. A secret gets revealed. An opportunity disappears. A reputation gets damaged. And afterward, you realize the emotion lasted minutes, but the consequence lasted months, sometimes years. So before you react, pause, take a breath, walk away, drink some water, put the phone down, give yourself 10 minutes, give yourself an hour, sleep on it if necessary. You don't have to answer immediately. You are allowed to say, I need some time to think about this. That's not weakness. That's emotional intelligence. You don't owe anyone an instant reaction, especially when you're angry. And here's something you need to understand. People who know how to provoke you have power over you only when you give them your reaction. If someone can say 3 words and completely destroy your mood, they have too much access to your mind. If someone's opinion can ruin your entire day, you're giving their opinion too much authority. If someone can insult you and suddenly you forget everything you know about yourself, you need to work on your inner foundation, because people will talk. They always will. Some will criticize you because they genuinely see something you need to improve. Listen to those people. Others will criticize you because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Don't let that control you. The skill is knowing the difference. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every accusation deserves an explanation. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every argument deserves your participation. And not every battle deserves to be fought. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Not because you have nothing to say, because you understand that saying it won't improve anything. Think about the last argument you had. Did you actually solve the problem? Or did both of you simply become louder? Did you communicate? Or did you compete over who could hurt the other person more? That's what happens when emotions take control. You stop trying to understand. You start trying to win. And sometimes you win the argument, but lose the relationship. What did you actually gain? You proved your point. But did you gain peace? Did you gain respect? Did the situation improve? Maybe not. That's why you need to stop asking. How can I win this argument? Start asking. Is this worth my energy? That's a powerful question. Because maturity is knowing that you don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to correct everyone. You don't have to prove you're right. You don't have to get the last word. You don't have to defend yourself against every opinion. You don't have to make people understand you. Sometimes you can simply walk away and let people believe whatever they want. That's freedom. Imagine someone insults you. Your old self immediately reacts. Your new self pauses. You ask, does this matter? Will this matter tomorrow? Does this person actually know me? Will responding improve my life? If the answer is no, let it go. Not everything deserves your attention. Your attention is valuable. Your peace is valuable. Your time is valuable. Stop giving expensive things away for free. And this applies to social media too. You see a comment, you get angry, you start typing, you write a paragraph, then another. You check their profile, you read their other comments, you start arguing with a stranger. For what? What did you gain? Nothing. You gave someone you've never met an hour of your emotional energy. Don't do that. Learn to scroll, learn to ignore, learn to leave. Your peace is more important than winning an argument with someone who doesn't matter in your life. And sometimes the hardest reaction to control isn't anger. It's the urge to explain yourself. Someone misunderstands you, and you immediately want to prove your intentions. You want them to know you didn't mean it. You want them to know the full story. You want them to understand your side. But sometimes they have already decided what they want to believe. You can explain yourself perfectly, and they can still misunderstand you. That's okay. You don't need everyone to understand you. The people who matter will look at your character over time. They will judge you by your patterns. Not one sentence, not one mistake, not one rumor. So stop exhausting yourself trying to control every perception. Live correctly. Let time speak. And here's another important lesson. Don't react when you're hungry, exhausted, lonely, or overwhelmed. Your emotional state affects your perception. When you're tired, small things feel bigger. When you're stressed, harmless comments can feel like attacks. When you're lonely, rejection can feel devastating. When you're already angry, one small inconvenience can become the final trigger. Know yourself, know when you're vulnerable, and don't make major decisions from temporary emotional states. You don't need to solve everything at midnight. You don't need to send that message right now. You don't need to make that decision while you're furious. Wait, sleep, think, then decide. Sometimes tomorrow's mind will see something today's emotions couldn't. And that's why patience is powerful. Patience gives your intelligence time to catch up with your emotions, because your first reaction isn't always your best reaction. Your first thought isn't always the truth. Your first impulse isn't always the right move. Give yourself a moment. Ask, what am I actually feeling? Thought? Is it anger or is it hurt? Is it jealousy? Or is it insecurity? Is it frustration? Or are you exhausted? Is it hatred? Or are you disappointed? Sometimes anger is only the surface emotion. Underneath it, there's fear, there's pain, there's embarrassment, there's rejection, there's disappointment. Understanding what's underneath your reaction gives you control over it. Instead of saying, I'm angry, so I'm going to attack. You can say, I'm hurt, so I need some space. That's maturity. You don't suppress the emotion. You understand it. And once you understand it, you can choose what to do with it. Maybe you need to communicate. Maybe you need to apologize. Maybe you need to set a boundary. Maybe you need to walk away. Maybe you need to let it go. But at least you're choosing. You're not being controlled by an impulse. And that's the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. Reaction says, you hurt me, so I'll hurt you. Response says, you hurt me, So I'll decide what protects my peace. Reaction says, I'll prove you wrong right now. Response says, I'll let my actions speak over time. Reaction says, I'll send the message. Response says, I'll think before I send anything. Reaction says, I need the last word. Response says, I don't need to win this conversation. That's strength. And don't confuse calmness with weakness. A calm person can still have boundaries. A calm person can still say no. A calm person can still leave. A calm person can still confront someone. The difference is they don't need rage to communicate strength. You can say, don't speak to me like that, without screaming. You can say, I don't agree, without becoming disrespectful. You can say, this relationship isn't working for me, without creating chaos. You can say, I won't tolerate that, without threatening anyone. Calmness gives your words more weight. When you don't lose control, people notice. And more importantly, you notice. You start realizing, I don't have to become someone I don't respect just because someone else behaved badly. That's a powerful decision. Someone can be rude and you can remain respectful. Someone can be dishonest and you can remain honest. Someone can be chaotic and you can remain calm. Someone can be angry and you don't have to borrow their anger. That's emotional independence. You don't have to match someone's energy. You choose your own. If they yell, you don't have to yell. If they insult, you don't have to insult. If they gossip, you don't have to gossip. If they provoke, you don't have to react. You can simply say, okay, and move on. That simple word can sometimes protect you from an hour of unnecessary drama. But don't misunderstand. Being calm doesn't mean allowing people to disrespect you. There are moments when you need to speak. There are moments when you need to defend yourself. There are moments when you need to leave. There are moments when you need to set a firm boundary. Control your reaction doesn't mean tolerate everything. It means choose the right response. Sometimes the right response is silence. Sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes it's distance. Sometimes it's a firm no. Sometimes it's walking away. And sometimes it's forgiveness. Not because they deserve it, because you deserve peace. You don't have to carry anger for years because someone hurt you once. That anger can become a prison. They may have moved on. You haven't. You're still replaying the conversation, still imagining what you should have said, still wishing you had responded differently. Let it go. You don't have to keep reopening an old wound just to prove that what happened mattered. It mattered. You learn. Now move. And this is where emotional discipline becomes a lifestyle. You don't develop control during a crisis. You develop it in ordinary moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, practice patience. When someone is slow, practice patience. When someone disagrees, practice listening. When someone criticizes you, practice thinking before responding. When you feel the urge to send an angry message, practice waiting. Every small moment is training. You're teaching your nervous system. I don't have to react to everything. And eventually, it becomes natural. You become harder to provoke. Not because you stopped caring, because you stopped giving everyone control over your emotional state. And that's a kind of freedom nobody can give you. You earn it through discipline, through awareness, through practice, through choosing your response again and again. So the next time something happens, don't react immediately. Pause, breathe, look at the situation. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Will my response improve the situation? Am I responding to what happened or to what I think it means? Am I angry or am I hurt? What would the strongest version of me do right now? Then choose, because your reaction is part of your character. And every time you control it, you become stronger. And every time you control it, you become stronger. Not louder, not colder, not more aggressive, stronger. Because real strength isn't always visible. Sometimes strength is sitting there with an angry message typed out and deciding not to send it. Sometimes strength is hearing something disrespectful and choosing not to become disrespectful yourself. Sometimes strength is walking away from an argument you know will lead nowhere. Sometimes strength is admitting, I was wrong. And sometimes strength is saying, this hurt me. Without turning your pain into someone else's pain. That's control. And the more you practice it, the more you realize something. You don't actually need to respond to everything that happens around you. You don't need to give every person a piece of your mind. You don't need to react to every opinion. You don't need to answer every message immediately. You don't need to defend yourself against every accusation. You don't need to prove yourself every time someone doubts you. Your life becomes much more peaceful when you stop treating every situation like an emergency. Because everything feels urgent when you're emotionally reactive. A text feels urgent. A comment feels urgent. A disagreement feels urgent. A criticism feels urgent. A person's attitude feels urgent. But most things aren't. You have time. Take it. Think. Breathe. Step away. Come back when your mind is clear. That little pause can save you from a huge mistake. And there is something else you need to stop doing. Stop rehearsing arguments in your head. You know what I'm talking about. Someone says something to you, the conversation ends, but your mind keeps going. You imagine what you should have said, then you imagine what they would say. Then you create another response, then another. Suddenly you're having an entire argument with someone who isn't even there. Hours pass. Your body is still reacting to something that already happened. Stop. The conversation is over. Let it be over. You cannot change what was said. You can only decide what you do next. Don't let a 5-minute interaction steal 5 hours from you. And sometimes, don't let one person's bad mood become your bad mood. Someone wakes up angry. They speak rudely to you. Now you're angry too. Why? They had a bad morning. Now you're carrying it. They were frustrated. Now you're frustrated. They were impatient. Now you're impatient. You don't have to absorb everyone else's emotional state. You can recognize it without adopting it. You can think, that's their energy. It doesn't have to become mine. That's emotional independence. And it takes practice. Because humans naturally mirror each other. Someone becomes loud, we become loud. Someone becomes defensive, we become defensive. Someone becomes cold, we become cold. But someone has to break the cycle. Why not you? Someone has to stay calm. Someone has to lower their voice. Someone has to stop the argument. Someone has to say, let's talk about this when we're both calmer. Be that person. Not because you're surrendering. Because you're refusing to let a temporary emotion control the direction of your life. And if the other person refuses to calm down, walk away. You don't have to stand in the fire just because someone else started it. You can leave. You can say, I'm not continuing this conversation while we're speaking like this. Then leave. That's a boundary. And if someone accuses you of being weak because you walked away, let them. You know why you're walking away. You're not running from conflict. You're refusing pointless conflict. There is a difference. Healthy confrontation solves problems. Emotional confrontation creates new ones. Learn to tell the difference. And here's another powerful habit. Before responding, ask yourself what outcome you actually want. Do you want understanding? Do you want an apology? Do you want a boundary? Do you want resolution? Or do you simply want them to feel as bad as you feel? Be honest. Because if your goal is revenge, you're already losing control. Revenge keeps you emotionally connected to the person who hurt you. You're still thinking about them, still planning, still reacting, still giving them your energy. Real freedom is when they no longer control your emotional state. You don't need them to suffer. You need yourself to heal. That's a completely different goal. And sometimes the best response to someone who underestimated you isn't an argument. It's growth. They said you couldn't. You worked. They doubted you. You continued. They laughed. You stayed focused. They expected you to react. You stayed quiet. And eventually, your results speak. Don't waste your energy trying to convince people of your potential. Build it. Don't argue about your future. Create it. Don't explain your worth. Live it. That's how you take your power back. And control doesn't only apply to anger. It applies to excitement too. Sometimes people make decisions because they're overly excited. They meet someone new and immediately trust them. They get an opportunity and immediately spend the money. They feel motivated and make 10 promises. They receive attention and become emotionally attached. Not every strong emotion is a command. Just because you feel something strongly doesn't mean you have to act on it immediately. Feel it, then think. You don't need to suppress excitement. You need to give it direction. The same applies to fear. Fear says, don't do it. You don't have to obey immediately. Ask, is this danger or is this discomfort? Because they're different. Danger requires caution. Discomfort often requires courage. And if you react to every uncomfortable feeling by running away, your world becomes smaller. You avoid conversations, you avoid opportunities, you avoid risks, you avoid growth. You become controlled by your emotions. Instead, learn to sit with discomfort. Take a breath. Feel the fear. Then decide. You can be nervous and still act. You can be afraid and still move. You can feel insecure and still speak. Emotional control isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to act according to your values, even when your emotions are loud. That's maturity. And you need to practice it when nobody is watching. Because the easiest time to be disciplined is when everything is going well. The real test comes when you're angry, when you're tired, when you're hurt, when you're disappointed, when someone pushes your buttons. That's when your training matters. Anyone can be calm in a peaceful room. The goal is to stay grounded when the room becomes chaotic. And you can train that. Start with small things. When you feel irritation, don't immediately speak. When you feel like checking your phone, wait 5 minutes. When you want to respond to a message, read it twice. When you feel offended, ask whether you misunderstood. When you feel angry, take 10 slow breaths. When you're about to make a major decision, give yourself time. These small practices build a stronger mind. You're teaching yourself, I don't have to obey every impulse. And eventually, that becomes your identity. You become someone who thinks before speaking, someone who doesn't explode, someone who doesn't chase, someone who doesn't beg, someone who doesn't threaten, someone who doesn't send paragraphs at 2 in the morning, someone who doesn't destroy relationships during emotional moments, someone who can say, I need time. That's strength. And your words matter. Words cannot be taken back. Once you say something cruel, you can apologize, but you can't erase the memory. That's why you need to become careful with your words, especially when you're angry. Don't use someone's deepest insecurity as a weapon. Don't reveal secrets because you're hurt. Don't bring up old mistakes just to win. Don't insult someone's character because you disagree with their behavior. Address the issue, not the person's entire identity. Say, I didn't like what happened. Instead of, you're a terrible person. Say, that hurt me. Instead of, you don't care about anyone. Say, I need you to respect this boundary. Instead of, you're impossible. Specific communication creates solutions. Personal attacks create defensiveness. And if you learn this, your relationships will improve. Your work relationships, your friendships, your family relationships, your romantic relationships, even your relationship with yourself. Because you will stop turning every disagreement into a war. And here's something you need to accept. Sometimes you will react badly. You're human. You will lose your patience. You will say something you shouldn't. You will make mistakes. Don't use emotional control as another reason to hate yourself. If you mess up, own it. Apologize. Correct it. Learn. Move forward. Say, I shouldn't have reacted that way. That's powerful. Don't say, that's just how I am. That's an excuse. You can change. You can become calmer. You can become more patient. You can become more thoughtful. Your personality isn't a prison. You can train yourself. And every time you handle a situation better than you used to, notice it. Maybe last year you would have exploded. Today you pause. Maybe before you would have sent 10 angry messages. Today you put the phone down. Maybe before you would have chased someone for an explanation. Today you accepted the silence. That's progress. Don't underestimate it. Emotional strength is built quietly. Nobody may notice, but you will. And your life will become different because of it. You'll sleep better. You'll think clearer. You'll make better decisions. You'll have fewer regrets. You'll stop creating problems that never needed to exist. You'll stop giving people the power to control your mood. You'll become more difficult to manipulate. And you'll become more confident. Because confidence isn't just believing you can succeed. It's believing you can handle yourself when things go wrong. That's real confidence. Knowing, I might get angry, but I can control what I do. I might get hurt, but I won't destroy myself. I might be rejected, but I won't beg. I might fail, but I won't quit. I might be misunderstood, but I don't need everyone's approval. That's strength. And remember, you cannot always control the first emotion, but you can control the second decision. You might feel anger immediately. That's automatic. What you do next, that's where your power begins. So create a system for yourself. When something triggers you, pause. Don't speak immediately. Breathe. Let your body settle. Observe. Ask what you're actually feeling. Think. Ask what response will serve you. Choose. Respond according to your values, not your impulse. And then move on. Don't keep replaying it. Don't keep feeding it. Don't keep returning to the same emotional place. Handle it. Learn from it. Release it. That's the process. And the more you practice it, the less reactive you become. You start noticing something interesting. People may continue trying to provoke you, but it doesn't work anymore. They say something, you hear it, you think about it, and you decide, not worth it. That's freedom. Someone tries to make you jealous. You don't chase. Someone tries to make you angry. You stay calm. Someone tries to embarrass you. You keep your dignity. Someone tries to pressure you. You say no. Someone tries to manipulate you. You recognize the pattern. Someone tries to pull you into drama. You step away. That's what happens when you stop giving automatic reactions. You become difficult to control. And that doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming grounded. You can still love. You can still care. You can still be passionate. You can still laugh. You can still be emotional. You just don't let emotions drive the car. You hold the steering wheel. Your emotions can sit in the passenger seat. They can speak. They can tell you what they feel. But they don't get to decide where your life goes. You do. And sometimes your emotions will tell you to run. Sometimes they'll tell you to attack. Sometimes they'll tell you to give up. Sometimes they'll tell you to send a message. Sometimes they'll tell you to go back to someone you know isn't good for you. Listen, but don't automatically obey. Ask, is this aligned with the person I want to become? That's the question. Not, what do I feel like doing right now? But, what choice will I respect tomorrow? That question can change your life, because your future self has to live with today's decisions. Your future self will read that message. Your future self will deal with that consequence. Your future self will remember how you handled that moment. Give your future self something to be proud of. And if you have to walk away with dignity. If you have to speak calmly. If you have to apologize sincerely. If you have to set a boundary, set it firmly. If you have to let go without revenge. If you have to start again, start. But don't allow temporary emotions to permanently damage your future. You have too much to build, too much to learn, too much life ahead of you. Don't waste it fighting battles that don't matter. Don't spend your energy proving yourself to people who aren't important. Don't let strangers control your mood. Don't let one bad moment ruin an entire day. Don't let one bad day convince you that your entire life is bad. Zoom out. Look at the bigger picture. This moment is not your entire life. This argument is not your entire relationship. This failure is not your entire story. This rejection is not your identity. This emotion is not your destiny. It's a moment. Let it pass. And that's something you need to remember. Feelings are temporary visitors. You don't have to build a house for every emotion that knocks on your door. Let anger visit. Let sadness visit. Let fear visit. Let disappointment visit. Listen to them. Learn from them. Then let them leave. You remain. Your values remain. Your goals remain. Your future remains. And your ability to choose remains. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't give them the reaction they're expecting. Pause. Smile if you need to. Say nothing if nothing needs to be said. Walk away if necessary. Respond later. Protect your peace, because sometimes the strongest person in the room isn't the one speaking the loudest. It's the one who has every reason to lose control and chooses not to. That's you. You can become that person. Not tomorrow, today. Start with one situation, one conversation, one message, one moment. Pause before reacting. Then do it again and again and again, until self-control becomes natural, until patience becomes part of you, until calm becomes your default, until people realize they cannot control you simply by pushing your buttons, until you realize you don't need to control the world because you've learned to control yourself. And once you control yourself, you become harder to manipulate, harder to distract, harder to provoke, harder to derail. You become focused, you become disciplined, you become emotionally stronger, and you become free. So remember, you cannot control what people say. You cannot control what people do. You cannot control what happens, but you can control what you do next. Pause before you speak. Think before you respond. Breathe before you decide. Walk away before you explode. And never let a temporary emotion make a permanent decision for you, because your peace is worth protecting. Your future is worth protecting. Your relationships are worth protecting. Your reputation is worth protecting. And most importantly, you are worth protecting from your own impulsive reactions. Stay calm, stay aware, stay disciplined, feel everything. But don't let everything control you. Control your reaction, control your response, control yourself, and you'll discover a level of strength that no one can take away from you.